That's right, motherfuckers. It's the MVWF podcast with Damien Andrews and Eddie Stank. I almost forgot your fucking name.
I thought we were retired. The fuck?
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MVWF podcast. So did you definitely engaged your microphone, correct?
Yes, my microphone is
Right,
plugged
so you're definitely on. All right, good.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
If not, you're talking to
Matchmania
yourself.
has come and gone, as has Season 3 of the return of Phase 2 of Matchmania. Excuse me, or the MVWF, the Match Vegas Wrestling Federation. I'm good and fried. I am Damien Andrews, your host here, your play-by-play man here, once again with my trusty sidekick, former booker of the MVWF, Eddie Stank.
Oh, how's it going, Damien?
Well, I mean, it is the best of times. It is the worst of times because, of course, I've got to eulogize. We lost the boss at the big show. Brandon Bones
He's fucking dead.
losing 9-0 to his arch rival Rock Collie, who for months and the weeks prior to Matchmania saying that he wanted Brandon Bones in a death match where the result of the match would result in someone being dead at the end. And Rock Collie got everything he asked for when Brandon Bones was pressed above Rock Collie's head, bleeding to death after being beaten 9-0. Did I mention it was 9-0?
Yeah, who loses one of those matches 9-0? Like, literally, who loses 9-0?
Rock Collie lifted the dead corpse of Brandon Bones above his head, and the name of the victorious Rock Collie, winning the match 9-0, and then dropping Brandon Bones on the ground, dead, in the middle of the ring. And you watch the bunch of replays, and you see all the things that Rock Collie did to the boss, to Brandon Bones, this decades-long feud coming to an end, finally, in front of everyone at the biggest show, the last show of their careers. And then they came back from all the replays, and Rock Collie standing victorious in front of a cheering crowd, finally getting that taste of victory, that final stroke of the sword upon the body of Brandon Bones. And then behind him, in all his glorious victory, Brandon Bones' body ascends in the air in front of this goddamn this sold-out crowd. God damn it!
He floated up like Owen Hart did.
He floated away and he died in front of everyone.
So you...
And then, for all his transgressions, haven't decided to strike this good man down.
Oh, well, that's debatable. Good man, debatable.
The man who generates so many successful careers.
Oh my god, he's crying like a baby.
The man who sacrificed himself and took my place in the League of Shadows.
Wait, what? I thought he was kidnapped.
I was kicked out to make room for Brandon Bones, you idiot!
It was Clone Bones, not Brandon Bones.
That was later.
At that time, it was Clone Bones. Somebody's actually watching it this hour.
And now, the king
Is dead.
is dead.
Gone the way of Old Yeller.
Long live the king!
Oh, I didn't know you had such an affinity for Brandon Bones.
He was the boss, man. He made everyone's fucking careers. Name someone in the MVWF. You want to know why that guy's a star? Because of Brandon motherfucking Bones. And my hat's off to you,
No,
sir.
hey, I commend...
On the very last episode of your show, of your fucking career, and he went out there and gave his life for the MVWF so that all of you could be stars in his universe.
Well,
Thank you, Brandon Bones. Thank you.
a tribute to Brandon Bones.
Well, Matchmania, I mean, Eddie's stank, was it not? I mean, did this not fucking climax the story. Was this not a season finale that stuck the landing?
Yeah, it didn't miss. There are a lot of good matches, a lot of good closure to this event.
Absolutely.
I think it's kind of like going on a high note.
So what we're going to do here, folks, on the podcast is we're going to break it down character by character and stuff. There are awards to give out, so once we mention the character, this is going to be their chapter in the show. And if they've won an award, we're going to run down their record for Season 3, maybe give a few totals for some of the dignitaries in the MVWF, some of the real people. Of course, not everybody in the MVWF is a real person. Of course, the Skinny Wolf, completely made-up character.
Would be an awesome real person.
Ron Awesome, a real person, hasn't been seen. I haven't seen him in a long time, my original roommate. But point of fact is we're going to start back at the beginning of Season 3, where on the other side of that, He-Man Ryan Crawford had successfully defended the MVWF Championship at Matchmania in a 30-minute Iron Man match against MC Honky Lips, the undefeated MC Honky Lips.
Yeah.
And, well, we started off with a fucking bang because Crawford named his challenger, put the fucking title on the line against Rock Holly, had a tremendous match, but lost the belt.
Yeah. Can't get over Rock Holly hump.
Absolutely. And, for Season 3, for a guy like Ryan Crawford, who was 18-17 in Season 1, had a tremendous record, but his Season 3 record was 1-6 in the singles division. Did manage to win the tag team titles. Was a central character, make no mistake about it, and of course participated in the losing end of what is probably the match of the year. In Rock Holly in the rematch from when he lost the belt. It was a 60-minute Iron Man match. A match that had to be earned, by the way, because the powers that be at the time had decided that, there was a different path that was actually originally on the table, but both champion and challenger were saying, we want the 60-minute Iron Man match.
Yeah, that was where they both were campaigning for that behind the scenes.
Right. And up until that point, we had, back in Phase 1, there were some 60-minute Iron Man matches that were kind of some duds. And so Brandon Bones, when he was the administrator, had always kind of like poo-pooed the idea of ever having that match. And again, I just want to point out, for all of the criticisms about Brandon Bones being like this absolute dictatorship power, this is one where he definitely lost. Bones' argument was that, it was going to be too wonky to have, too much screen time for the back and forth of the video game to really produce a match of that good greatness. But, but you know what? Good for them for winning this because they definitely validated their argument because the 60-minute Iron Man match is my match of the year. Rock Holly successfully defending the belt against He-Man Ryan Crawford.
Yeah, no, that probably is the match of the year, if not top 3 for sure.
Absolutely. Where guys are putting their flag, staking their claim that not only is it the match of the year, but it's one of the, if not the greatest match of all time.
Well, I wasn't here for the beginning part of this.
Yeah, Phase 1. There's a lot of factors I'm putting into it too, because of course my memory's a little longer than yours. But but honestly, I still have a hard time making an argument against it. The story of the first half hour, the absolute fucking beating, where Crawford pays for his sins.
Yeah.
Pays for his sins after all the fucking chicanery and the hot Asian wife.
Isn't that the one where Rock Holly went up big and then Crawford rallied toward the end but fell short?
Yeah.
At the very end, I think.
Yeah, he was within one. He was within one with about 2.5 minutes left. And due to some unfortunate circumstances, stuff like that didn't go his way, Rock Holly managing to clinch everything at the end right there and stop the comeback.
Yeah. Well, that was the closure to a lot of matches. You could go down the list. But
absolutely brutal.
So if we're talking about Ryan Crawford now, I'm sure you know my history with Crawford.
Yes.
Crawford's the reason I lost the bookership, because he started sucking the dick of Brandon Bones, and they had the little mutiny go on. Behind my back, nonetheless. Knew nothing of it till the day it happened.
Oh, so you're talking as AJ the Giant now?
No, I'm talking Eddie Stank and me and AJ did it.
Okay.
Do you forget that already? Your memory's not that long, is it?
Refresh my memory.
Me and AJ the Giant had bookership.
Yep.
So I am speaking as myself.
Oh, sure. You, AJ and Eddie Stank, both of you,
Miles Regos,
were the booking team who gave the thumbs up or the thumbs down. It's just a coincidence in that situation that AJ agreed with Brandon Bones at the time that it shouldn't be a 60-minute Iron Man match.
Right, at that time. But, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the screw-over that Crawford negotiated behind my back.
Which was?
To get me out, because he didn't like where he was going.
At what point? What were we talking about? Because we were just talking about
when I
the
lost the
Six-Man
bookership. Me and AJ lost the bookership without notification at all. I just got told the day before the event, you're out. And then it was a phone call later on. Well, yeah, I talked to Crawford, and this is what we decided to do.
So
Crawford comes back in after.
All right. So, yeah, but you know what, though? One of the things that Brandon Bones highlighted at the time, too, because remember, Brandon Bones still ended up having to be an administrator of sorts because, the booking team was reported to over the phone about what the final decisions were for each card. So Brandon Bones' fingerprints, I mean, he pitched ideas for sure.
Yeah, but Brandon Bones...
But they were approved and disapproved.
But the other thing what Brandon Bones was doing is he was adding run-ins and doing various alterations to the actual event that was discussed.
Sure.
Without notification, because he still had to have his little hand in the pie.
But I mean, that's just the circumstance of the fact that I'm the owner of the Federation,
Oh, you are, Damien. You own the Federation now.
Well, I mean, I've got to fucking play Brandon Bones now because you're going to fucking play AJ the Giant, motherfucker. Well, goddamn. Because, all right,
roll right into it.
Look, because it's a shame that you're starting to editorialize on me right before I was about to give you one of your best bookership props, too.
I'm
on the fucking ratings. The ratings fucking shattered records
this,
at the Firestorm
So
show.
this makes no sense why Brandon Bones kicked him out.
No, but the
why? Find out from your boss.
But it wasn't from...
Go talk to your other side.
It wasn't for like a couple of months later before that shit finally happened. You're getting way ahead of yourself right here.
So this was already from the beginning?
Besides, you said we were talking about Crawford.
Well, I'm talking about Crawford's screw-over. That's what I'm talking about. Crawford was involved in the
negotiations of having you removed from fucking the bookership?
And why? Why was Crawford given power at that time?
Because the ratings were down.
Down.
Right. At least that's Brandon Bones' fucking part of the argument.
Now,
Crawford's saying that he's fucking getting screwed because, by the way, he's got a 1-6 fucking record.
So how does
in
Crawford
the singles
get
division, or 1-7 if you include the elimination change.
But how does Crawford get screwed in that case? Crawford was not winning matches. How do you put a guy who's not winning in a main event headliner, co-headliner, whatever like you put it in? How would you do that and justify it when guys such as guys we'll talk about later, but Nick, Kyle, fucking Mr. Nightmare had a decent season 3.
Again, we were supposed to be talking about Crawford. That's some stuff that's for AJ's chapter. I mean, okay. I guess we're transitioning to AJ's chapter.
No,
well,
we're kind of rolling around. But okay, we'll go back to Crawford. Strictly Crawford, 1-6, season 3. Bad second half of season 2 due to head injury suffered from Hector.
Yeah, he was
and
off
Kyle.
for about 2 months.
Yeah. So Crawford, biggest prima donna in the MVWF. Quit twice.
Motherfucker broke my arm.
Motherfucker broke your arm, rightfully so, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Because
you were sucking dick to Brandon Bones.
Right. But you know what, though? When people fucking complain about, like, how I'm not putting certain people over and shit like that, motherfuckers demanded that these opinions
Are we back to Brandon, or are we still on Damien?
Well, I mean, I'm fucking Damien Andrews right now, motherfucker, because fucking, you know what I mean? I mean, Crawford spread it around. So, I mean, Kevin Welch, I mean, there are some that would say that he was the fucking one that should be fucking responsible for Hot Asian Wife being subdued into the fucking League of Shadows to begin with. I mean, he lost his fucking grip is what he did. Well, and that's why he's got the fucking shitty record that he has.
Right, so what I don't...
He also won a Battle Royal, fine, and he got himself into that 6-way, which was super fucked up because of the broadcast issues and shit like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, he came down to be like the fucking... Do we
know who his one win was?
Last guy out.
Who did he beat in the singles that year? Do we know who his one win was?
Give me a second to look that up.
I'm just curious. Look, Crawford was a shot out like a bullet in the beginning of season 1. Underrated, not expected to do much. New guy comes into this league and runs roughshod through it for the first year and a half. Has some of the greatest matches I've watched. What was it? Is he Kimura? Was it the Kimura as his finisher?
Yep.
Devastating. Submissions, grappling, always countering. Phenomenal wrestling.
You've tapped to it. I mean, AJ the Giant has tapped to it.
Whatever. It has.
I know what it fucking feels like.
We've been, you chicken winged. But it all changed for Crawford. His trajectory went from being rocket high, sky high, to falling back to earth immediately after Hector put his head through the concrete. That was the beginning of the end of Crawford. As far as I see it, he was on a roll up until that point. That was the first big defeat he suffered. And the head from the start.
I understand where you're trying to thread that needle right there, but also keep in mind, he main evented Match Mania 2 in between that. So, I mean, he rallied at one point or whatever that I think eventually the head injury, yes, did follow him through, but I do think that he managed to fucking tough grudge his way out through it.
Post that tournament,
through a main event run. You know, I mean,
post that tournament, after Hector beat him, Crawford lost every match up until he beat the Giant on his second match of the night.
Right. I'm not going to hold it against Crawford for demanding the spotlight. I mean, season 1, season 2, I mean, he was the lead character in this show. Hands down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was a surprise lead character. Like, Crawford won the matches that you didn't expect him to win.
Yeah.
He won a 3-way at the beginning of season 1 to get a title shot against, I think Rock Holly at the time was holding the title.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know. Did Crawford get... Oh, Crawford lost to Doyle in round 1 of that first tournament we had in season 1.
Right.
If I remember, he lost pretty quickly to Doyle. Not super quick. Not Doyle losing to Rock Holly, but...
Yeah, he definitely had a fucking problem with him.
So, but look, the guy did good. Probably one of the top 5 wrestlers for the year. For season 3s. Yeah. All 3 seasons.
I think the Rocket at the beginning was what his problem was. I think he
got too big too fast.
Too big too soon. I mean, that 3-way match between AJ the Giant, Kevin Welch, and He-Man was arguably the match of the year in season 1.
Arguably.
Where one of the 3 top guys of, at the time, the most successful members of the new generation.
No, I would say season 1's match of the year was probably you and Crawford in Match Mania.
Yeah, I mean...
The draw.
Yeah. I mean, that was my other fucking pick, you know. It's a pick'em right there.
Yeah.
Spaced pretty far apart.
Nice gambling term. Pick'em. Yeah. It's a pick'em.
So anyway, all right. Well, that's Crawford in a nutshell, right there.
Whatever happened to Hot Asian Wife? Who'd she end up with in the end?
She was with Dennis.
So she went from Crawford to Shadow King to Welch to whoever else. She train wrecked.
Yep.
So she was just as bad as Kid Christian's mom.
Yeah, you know what? What a phenomenal character. You know, let's transition to Hot Asian Wife here for a second.
Yeah, it's just a side character. We'll get
I was just a bit of a sidebar here. It's like a made-up character, not meant to really be anything of any depth or whatever and stuff. I mean, it was just sort of like a coloring the picture for Kevin Welch and stuff like that to get that title shot back in season 2.
Would have been better if she was one of the original hoes.
But yeah, man, like she took the fucking ball and just ran with it or whatever.
Yeah,
left those other 2 bitches in the dust.
Look, if you want it, she's a very influential character.
Yeah.
She factored in a lot of transitions and changes. She won matches for guys.
Yeah.
I think the first time she lost a match for a guy was when Shadow King lost to AJ.
Yeah. She was the skinny wolf of phase 2, really. Like,
yeah.
She was, because the skinny wolf had like this element of chaos back in phase 1 that you just could never seem to fucking wrap your mind around and shit like that, because he was always coming at you from an angle that you'd never fucking expected.
Right.
And she was just like that, man. Like all I did was fucking, program the fucking thing in and shit like that and put her at ringside, and she just did the rest.
I mean, Crawford,
the level of aggression.
Now, how come Crawford didn't get arrested for assault on a woman? Hitting Hot Asian Wife, even if it's in a ring.
One of the most controversial
events
of the year was in the first round of Canada Cup. Speaking of Crawford, I guess we haven't entirely gotten off.
Well, I just thought of it, so something came back to mind.
But, I mean, where the 2 of them intersected after she had left him, and now suddenly ended up with Dennis, Dennis, speaking of the Firestorm match, was also a big question mark hanging over the greatest match of all time. When he returned after being gone for all of season 2, to run in and smash Crawford from behind with a chair, potentially costing him just enough of that fucking spunk to get over the hump and fucking close that gap on Rock Holly, which he came that fucking close to doing anyway.
Right. So what was Crawford's final record?
His final record, okay, so if he's...
we know he was 1-6 to end, but, I mean, overall.
Shit.
Did we figure these out in, order of, most wins so we knew, a rating system, or we just have them generalized?
I have lost.
Wow. Hot Asian Wife, great character influence, affected lots of matches, fucked over a lot of people, and fucked a lot of people, apparently.
Yeah.
So, good for Hot Asian Wife. While we try to figure out Crawford's information.
Crawford was 18-17 in season 1. Everything all together here, so tag matches and stuff too. He won 4 tag matches, so 5...
19.
6 and 6 and 10. 7 and 10 if you include the Battle Royal.
All right, so 7 and 10 in
the
season
tag team
3.
title reign.
7 and 10 season 3.
Yep.
Season 2?
That's the one I don't know where it is.
Okay.
That one's in this book somewhere.
One book out of the book.
Not
All right.
very well organized here.
So what? So, all right. 7 and 10. What was he in the third season?
18 and 17.
Okay. 25 and 27. He's got a losing record as of right now.
Slightly losing record.
Yeah, 25-27. Once we figure that out. Well, either way, Brandon's trying to, whoever, fucking Damien, Brandon, Booker, our stat guys who's slacking off, Steve. You know.
Fucking Steve.
Fucking Steve.
All right, there it is. Okay.
So 25 and 27.
And then in season 2, he was 13 and 10.
28 to 27? Motherfucker. 28 to 27. Wow.
And ultimately, Crawford, I think Crawford ends up being kind of the face of the new generation.
Well, he definitely played the part. He was definitely the bigger.
Yeah.
He knew how to manipulate Brandon Bones. He knew how to manipulate AJ the Giant. He knew how to manipulate everybody to thinking this, and got himself into positions. And then, but he had to win it. You can get yourself to the big main event. AJ the Giant's a perfect example. Can get there.
Right.
Just couldn't win the big one.
Right.
So,
Which I think this is where our transition will move over from Hot Asian Wife and Crawford to the last MVWF World's Heavyweight Champion, because you're saying that Crawford had all the success as a politicker in the locker room or in the boardroom or whatever, talking to Brandon Bones or AJ the Giant or whatever. You're saying that he had some sway. Okay, fine. But that seemed to last until Dennis came back.
Yes.
The return of Dennis. World Champion. Dual champion. Only dual champion. Well, I mean, at the World's Heavyweight Champion and the World Tag Team titles, along with his tag team partner, Munson, who was also a dual champion. They had a monopoly on all 3 championship divisions.
What was Munson's solo one?
The Super 32 belt. He was champion. You forgot Munson's title reign as a Super 32 champion?
Oh, no. I lost to Kid Christian. Kid Christian lost it to Munson?
Yes.
And then Munson lost it to...
Kevin.
Kevin, and Kevin lost it in the 4-way with him. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yep. I mean, Dennis, what a fucking comeback. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, Dennis was such a muted character in season 1. The Dennis to Take a Hitman thing. He was very much emulating like a stoner-themed Bret Hitman Hart. Dennis to Take a Hitman Hart, like fucking fine, Did okay in the B1 Climax tournament and stuff like that, but some undisclosed injuries and stuff like that, keeping him out for the entirety of season 2, only to come back at the most pivotal time where he was making a very similar argument in season 3 of the argument that AJ the Giant was making about Crawford in season 2. He goes, you got all these fucking opportunities, and you did all this fucking bullshit to fucking, to politic and backstab and set up Kevin and steal the belt and steal the girl and steal his balls and, I mean, had a very successful title reign because of that. So every time she did something for him that, helping him in the fucking Super 32 tournament, fucking tapping out the Shadow King, fuck, man, she was there for him. She was there for everybody that she was there for. She was just there for a lot of fucking dudes.
But the allure of Playboy Kevin Welch is what led her away from Crawford. Crawford got too serious. Welch was the party guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he definitely, backstage, he was definitely unhinged sometimes, yelling and screaming at Brandon Bones. The arguments in the office and stuff like that could be heard out in the hallway. I mean, things
there was
really kind of
everywhere from
down.
Crawford.
It was very much a Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart kind of situation.
Yeah, perfect example. I was going to say, I was trying to find some comparison. That works perfectly. Except Crawford didn't get the Montreal Screwjob to end it.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, the last time Brandon Bones and Ryan Crawford faced each other in the fucking ring was in Match Mania 1. They did not get in the fucking ring with each other until World War IV, which was the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view before Match Mania. So, a season and a half or a season and 3/4 before we could get those fucking assholes to reunite, to get on the same page, to get in the ring.
And they probably only got stuck together. You had nothing else to do with either guy at that point.
And then what happened?
I don't remember.
Well, the week before that match at World War IV, because here we are fucking talking about Crawford again, he attacks Brandon Bones in his match with, I think it was Brandon Clones. Or no, it was the Shadow King. And, because Brandon Bones was neck deep in the fucking Brandon Clone Shadow King fucking storyline at that point.
Yeah.
Crawford interrupts on that, fucking puts him in the fucking Kimura during this no disqualification match and causes Brandon to lose the match. So, at the pay-per-view, Bones and fucking Crawford finally fucking were going to get Brett and Shawn into the goddamn fucking ring, and we ended up having the Montreal fucking screw job, for fuck's sake, where a crooked referee refused to call 2 consecutive tap-outs within, like, 10 seconds of each other. Literally, 10 seconds. Where Crawford finally was going to get his revenge, not only by finally beating Brandon Bones by submission, but doing so in a way that puts his fucking lights out. And the referee ignored it.
Didn't give him the satisfaction.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 falls, submissions only, fucking I Quit match. And Bones had already got a suspicious fucking fall earlier in the match when they were clearly tied up in the ropes.
Yeah, that's true. He was there. I don't know. The refs kind of started sucking toward the end, or they got paid off toward the end of the season.
And then Bones, escapes the fucking hold. Crawford is aghast. Bones sneaks back into the ring, gets a fucking submission hold on, taps out Crawford and stuff like that because, like, what the fuck? I mean, he was, at that point, he was hurt. And it was like, where else could you go? And Bones ultimately gets his revenge against Crawford.
Ultimately, yeah.
I mean, if you were to say who won that feud, but they went to war that fucking night.
Well,
they used weapons on each other. There was blood all over the place.
That was probably the start of the end of Brandon Bones before he got killed.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot out of Bones. I mean, Bones did fucking have a pretty glorious victory against Trump at Match Mania and stuff. He's very proud of that. Fucking what a violent cage match that was. I mean, Bones continues to be what he was in Phase 2, exactly what he was in Phase 4. A tremendous big match fighter, but didn't win a lot of those big fucking matches.
Yeah.
Well,
we know a lot of guys like that.
Crawford was on the podcast back in, I think, Season 2, and he called it, I think, right, saying that Bones was, the king of the empty victory.
Yeah, no, valid point. I mean, Bones went into a different kind of role at the beginning of Season 3, so he didn't really... Right. But, yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, back to Dennis, though. Ending up as World's Heavyweight Champion at the end. Ultimately, Dennis, the winner of the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he said it from the beginning. He's going to win it all, and he put his money where his mouth was. I can't knock the guy.
Had some tremendous matches. Man, that fucking 3-way match where Crawford fucking unmasked his cube to sneak his way into that title match. I mean, Crawford came within an eyelash.
Yeah.
He came within an eyelash of winning the championship and paying Dennis back all in one fell swoop. But again, I mean, give credit where it's due. Crawford politicked his way into that fucking match.
As I stated previously.
Yep.
Crawford got himself... Crawford is cube. I remember that.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Well, hey, whatever. But, I mean, Dennis, big surprise. But if you notice, people disappear for a little while, come back, and all of a sudden get hot.
Yeah.
Honky Lips Season 2.
Yep.
Prime example.
Yep.
Did nothing. Disappeared into Season 1 for a while. I think he came back for a Royal Rumble or something.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he comes back with a new identity, no monkey suit anymore.
Yep.
And next thing you know, the guy goes undefeated to the last match of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the MVWF, everyone seemed to get a shot. If you're just kind of like encompassing, do like a grade on, like, did everyone get a shot at it? Was it fair?
Everyone except for one person.
Who's that?
I'll talk about it later.
Okay. So, moving along, why don't we move... Dennis, just run down some of Dennis's stats, because Dennis had a great win streak right there. He did lose to Kyle. That gave Kyle his one fucking shot at the title. But it's a rare blemish on an otherwise very stellar record for Dennis at the end there. Dennis to take a hit, man heart. Season 3, his World's Heavyweight Championship, won the tag team titles, held them simultaneously.
Yep.
Singles record of 8-2.
So he had good. Yeah, had 2 losses. What, Kyle and
in the tag team division, he was 7-3. Main event at Match Mania with 2 matches and stuff. Of course, he had a kind of an extra opportunity and stuff like that. I mean, because he was going into Match Mania at the end as a winner-take-all candidate. He had the tag titles. He had the World's Heavyweight Championship, and his partner had the Super 32 title. It didn't get any better than that. And Munson's fucking... I guess we'll transition to him real quick, too, because it's kind of a short story on Munson, because he wore a fucking monkey suit, just like you said, and stuff, but but turned chicken shit into chicken salad suddenly. You know, I mean, as a
Wait, you talking about Hoggy Lips or Munson?
Munson
okay.
really turned it around and stuff like that to really get on fire really late in the game and stuff like that to start winning championships and prestige going into the last shows of the existence of the MVWF.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
For nobody than those two guys right there.
no, you're right.
So
is Dennis's both his losses in the year in the singles division? Well, one was to Kyle. Who was his? Do we know who his other one was? That you can think of? Like, did he ever get in the ring with the Giant 1-on-1?
he lost to Okada at the New Japan
yeah.
show.
Did he ever get? I don't think the Giant and him ever got in the ring.
1-on-1?
1-on-1. They were. I think
They were in the tag team.
a tag one, but not in a 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity there.
Yep.
Especially all the shit that I had to say about Dennis for the whole thing.
Sure.
Sapruda film.
Ran out of time, I guess, on that one. Yeah,
I mean, just something that never came about. That's all.
Yep.
That would have been two heavyweights going at it, right? That would have been a good match.
Yep. All right, so I guess also the short story on Brandon Bones had a very rough season of 3-6 in the singles division, 4-3 in the tag team division. Not bad there.
Oh, head.
What was on the winning side of a 6-man tag match. Bones, I mean, again, a great wrestler, you know, and gave his life for the for the sport.
Yeah, no, he did all he can do. Gave it the ultimate sacrifice. Props to him. I mean, he did what he needed to do.
Yep. Speaking of ultimate sacrifice, though, that label applies to no one more
than
than
him?
Ryan Doyle.
Oh, Ryan fucking Doyle.
Yep. I mean, the story for this guy all through the 3 seasons of the MVWF, a prominent... All right, we're going to take a pause right here as AJ's going to go get the food. Brandon Bones Brandon Bones You're dead. All right, back with the food. Ryan Doyle. I mean, is there anyone better in the ring than Ryan Doyle?
No. Fundamentally, no.
I mean, Ryan Doyle, you know, tag team of the year, him and Whiteside. I mean, they were a classic tag team back in Phase 1, and definitely one of the strongest arguments in the victory category when it comes to the old guard of the MVWF, the classic characters that carried over from Phase 1 and stuff like that. Their success ratio was very good and stuff. What was kind of a tepid tag team division, though. The tag team division was more of an oak tree than you know, a fucking cannabis bush or something, you know,
right.
In the time that it took to grow, you know.
Well, it was a slow grow.
Yeah, and then Doyle, I mean, successfully transitioned over to the singles division, won the World's Heavyweight Championship, easily defeating Crawford to end his second reign as the MVWF champion.
Yep.
Was on the favored side of the classic match between him and Kevin Welch. I mean, the fucking JFK assassination, the 9/11.
Oh God.
I mean, that doesn't. I mean, all the 3 seasons, that is probably the most important match of the entire MVWF. So much happened, so much storyline happened in that match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, an absolute fucking pivotal match. You know, in the big, you know, a fucking big ratings getter type of thing. You know?
Yeah.
But Doyle, man, like, he always seemed in every match to fucking just go out there and take that beating. But man, he dished it out just as hard as he gave it, and most of the time, he managed to pull fucking victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, he would take a beating, wear the guy out, and then turn on at the very end and win. I think he probably won 70% of his matches last-minute comebacks.
Yeah.
Or last-minute momentums.
Yeah. I mean, the Humanure was such a devastating finishing maneuver. His MMA chokes, the Hell's Gate that he would use, the omoplata. I mean, holy shit! Like because Doyle's roughhouse style and stuff like that was. I mean, he had the Humanure back in the day, but I mean, back in Phase 1, he didn't wrestle like that. I mean, so his style had definitely evolved into two different phases. Because remember, Doyle had that shameful loss at the beginning of Season 1. He lost to Rock Holly in 43 seconds when he was the last champion from back in Phase 1.
Yeah.
And Rock Holly and him main evented that last Match Mania, and Rock Holly paid his revenge.
Oh, yeah.
And man, was that a hard thing to fucking recover from and stuff. So Doyle, I mean, he just dove right at the deep end of the pool, had some fucking classic matches in the Super 32 tournament, lost in the finals. Yes, he did. But eventually came back to fucking win the Super 32 championship. Once it fucking became an official championship in Season 3.
Yep. He
And-
took it away from Hunkerlips.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, goddamn, back in Season 2, was it? Yeah, he was fucking 18 and 12. Doyle was fucking 2 and well, the total is 4 and 8.
4 and 8. Oh,
Yeah,
well, yeah, he
in
also
Season
missed
3.
He missed some time due to injury.
But yeah, 'cause he was out, and of course there's they were out early in the tournament. But he also won the Royal Rumble. One of 3 Royal Rumble, Royal Rumbles that you can have on your resume and stuff. Main evented Match Mania of night 1.
Yep.
I mean, Doyle is. For all the bumps in the road that he took, we're gonna take a short break here
After we finish Doyle.
and then after we finish Doyle here and stuff, we're gonna take a break and eat, and then we'll come back with part 2 and finish up the awards and all.
Yeah.
But I mean, also Wrestler of the Year in Season 2, usurping it from the guy who was champion most of the time that year.
Yeah.
Took it from Crawford. I mean, the guy with the most championship credentials and stuff like that coming in second. Are you kidding me? And then still remained a prolific tag team wrestler throughout it all. He settled his feud with Whiteside at fucking Match Mania 2. I mean, so Doyle, was a functional player at just about every aspect of the undercard, the middle of the card, and in the main event. I mean, you don't get any more fucking versatile.
He's a
than that.
complete wrestler.
Yeah.
You could put him anywhere and he would shine, whether he's top, middle, or bottom of this card.
Yeah.
And he put on a match. He always came through.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's probably number 3 or 4 on my list of wrestlers of the year. Like, he'd be up there.
When it comes to his record, at least in Season 3, doesn't really necessarily scream it and stuff like that. But again, the level of quality he brought every single week after week after week and stuff, and eventually, when he finally fucking broke down, of course, one of the most amazing episodes of MVWF Danger Zone, where he clashed in the rematch with AJ the Giant. He'd won the belt from the Giant, who was previously Super 32 champion, and then the Giant finally answered the question what was the answer? To the question, like, how much can Doyle take?
Yeah.
We found out on that day.
Yeah.
When he used Doyle's body to destroy the ring.
Yeah, that
and
was
win the belt.
that was a climatic moment of this. That was like that wow moment. What, really? Did that fucking happen?
Yeah. I mean, the video game didn't offer up, because of, I think, of the limited ability in order to properly use the that function in universe mode where guys just, when you pair them together for feuding and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, there was other little sections where you can just, enemies, friends, enemies and friends and stuff like that. But unless you're in a heated rivalry and stuff like that, I think that was the thing. Unless you had something like that engaged.
Right.
That limited the chance to, get cutscenes and stuff like this. We didn't really see too much of that.
No.
But this was a way to get that from the fact that finally knockouts were on exclusively in a match with a super heavyweight.
Yeah, so
that fucking suplex off the top rope would happen to engage the fucking breaking of the ring and shit like that. And the fact that just the stars had to align in creating the fucking match.
Well, hey, look, that's no
to get
different.
that result and stuff like that. Because I didn't plan that shit.
No,
dude.
and then obviously you couldn't plan on Brandon Bones going off to fucking heaven and getting spit right back out. The game did you lots of favors at different times. The game taketh, the game giveth.
Yeah.
So.
And, Doyle, fucking hats off. Because Doyle, in contrast to that, Doyle had a much longer road back in Season 1 to end up where he ended up. Doyle got to be, a legend that immediately had his credibility questioned. Oh, you were the last champion? What the fuck happened with Rock Holly? How did you lose that match in 43 seconds?
Right.
And Doyle, took that to fucking heart, man. So anyway, Doyle fucking capped off a stellar fucking career. Hats off to that fucking guy. One of the greatest of all time. Arguably I don't know. I mean, Rock Holly calls himself the greatest of all time and stuff like that. And you know what? I mean, when you think about the consistency of the quality of their matches and stuff like that, Rock Holly's right there with Doyle. You know what I mean? Rock Holly always had fucking good matches. Except maybe like in the tag team division sometimes.
Yeah, but we're going.
But that's more the stink of like Rock Holly would have had like 10. I mean, if he just stayed where he was, he seemed more of appropriate. But man, he insisted on being tag team with the Skinny Wolf back in season 1, and it didn't work for him.
Right.
And you know, the association with the New England Patriots had middling results and stuff like that because Tom Brady and Rob.
So we just transitioned to Rock Holly. We're gonna eat. Food's gonna get cold.
All right.
We'll get to Rock Holly after.
All right, folks. Well, I'm Damian Andrews, and Eddie Stank and I are signing off for right now. We will be back for the second half of our show. Be right back.
Later.